So a lot of times I think people get the idea that in order to forage for wild foods, that you need to go somewhere else in order to do that. If it's a forest or a state park or anywhere else. And I want to introduce the idea that you can forage in your backyard. So today I'm really excited to tell you guys about 7 different edible plants that you can find in your very own backyard. First, 2 disclaimers. 1, this video is for educational purposes only. Make sure before you eat any plant to positively identify it first, and it also helps to know its poisonous lookalikes. Second, if your yard is sprayed with any chemicals, anything to keep the lawn green, anything like that, you're gonna want to avoid eating anything off of your lawn. And this might get into a philosophical idea, but if anything like that is happening, then you don't want to eat out of that lawn. And if you don't know that a yard is not doing that, then don't pick plants from it, because it can potentially be harmful to your health. By the end of this video, I hope that you'll recognize the true value of having a yard that's full of natural plants from your ecosystem, instead of just grass everywhere. I personally think that a yard full of native plants looks a lot better, it's more green, and provides a lot of use to you. Anyways, right now, I'm really excited to start talking about these 7 plants, so let's go check it out. So this is the first one that we're going to cover, and I would be remiss if I didn't cover this one because it's so common, and that's Dandelion, which is in the genus Taraxacum. Now, I'm actually not going to show you the dandelion flower that we're also familiar with because everyone knows what that looks like, but I want to teach you how to identify dandelion by its leaves. So here's a dandelion right here, and yes, it's edible, and it's a pretty bitter leaf. And the bitter of dandelion is actually stimulating to your digestive system, so that's one of its medicinal benefits. If we go back to where its name came from, dandelion, Dandelion, which in French is tooth of the lion. And we look at its leaves, we can see that it's sharp-lobed, kind of like lion's teeth. So that is one way to identify dandelion. So with all the plants that we're going to talk about today, they're all very rich in a suite of vitamins. And I wish I could go over all of the nutritional and medicinal benefits of all of these plants, but there really are just too much to cover, so I'm gonna leave that for you guys to look up. Dandelion specifically has a lot of calcium in it and a lot of vitamin C. A lot of these have a lot of vitamin C. So just be aware of that all of these plants are not only something that you can eat, but something that you should eat for health. So, dandelion. Super good. So right here and really all around me is this other plant called Henbit. Its Latin name is Lamium amplexicaule, but its common name, Henbit, comes from the fact that chickens love to eat this, and we can eat it too. Now, Henbit looks very similar, especially in the flowers, to another plant that we're going to cover in this series called purple deadnettle. Let's take a look at that one right now. So now we're in my front yard, and we're looking at purple deadnettle. Now, don't let the name freak you out, because at first when I learned about deadnettle, I was like, well, that doesn't sound like a very welcoming name. But what deadnettle means is that this type of nettle, and it's not a true nettle, doesn't sting you. Most people, when they think of nettle, they think of stinging nettle, and this one, as you can see, it doesn't sting you. The Latin name for this one is Lamium purpureum. So Lamium, the same genus as Henbit, and that makes sense because they're very similar. But it's slightly different, and you can see that in the leaves. The leaf shape is more arrow shape than Henbit was. Different species, both edible. So a lot of times when I'm walking through a yard that I know is safe to eat from, I can't help but stop and eat some of these plants. And this one is one of my absolute favorites. This is chickweed, and I'm always absolutely excited to find this one because to me, it's delicious. I enjoy eating this plant. Chickweed's Latin name is Stellaria media, which is one of my favorite Latin names of any plant that's edible and useful. It has a great ring to it, Stellaria media. I'm always excited to find chickweed. It's one of my favorites. You can find it in any yard, any forest, any place really. Chickweed grows everywhere. It's a super good one to know. So, chickweed, Stellaria media, one of my favorites. So right next to where I just found all this chickweed, in fact, I can see tons of it right from where I am, just to give you a sense of how close and abundant all of these things are, is hairy bittercress. And you might know this one. Its seed pods look like this. And if you've ever walked through a yard or a field and you brush by this and then seeds pop everywhere, that's what this is. Hairy bittercress, Cardamine hirsuta, that's its Latin name. Now, this plant, in my opinion, is really, really good. It's in the mustard family. So if you eat it, it's got a little bit of a spicy kick to it. This one is amazing to just pick up and eat. It's also really, really good in salads because it adds just a hint of a spicy kick. Hairy bittercress, definitely one to know. So here we have some wood sorrel. And wood sorrel is awesome. This is one of my very favorite plants to introduce to people who are new to wild greens. It has a very, very unique flavor. Wood sorrel is in the genus Oxalis. So you don't want to eat too much of this because it has a little bit of oxalic acid in it, but definitely a little bit is fine. What I like to call this one myself colloquially is nature skittle, because you eat it and you don't expect something this green to have a tangy flavor, but it does, and it really is delicious. I hope that you find some wood sorrel. This one is really fun to munch on while you're walking through the woods, or if you find it in your yard. It's really delicious. Look out for it. So right here we have one of my newest favorite wild greens to go for. It's called Bird's Eye Speedwell. And this plant actually has a whole lot of medicinal benefits. And I just identified this one this season, and I'm always learning new plants. But this one is super cool, and what I've been using it for is I'll take the leaves and I'll chop them up and I'll make it into a tea, which has a lot of relaxing properties. So Bird's Eye Speedwell, Veronica, persica, always a great one to look out for. And they're not blooming so much right now. It has a very beautiful blue periwinkle color to it. So look out for that flower and you'll probably find this plant. A quick bonus, because it's been blooming everywhere right now, is violet. And the leaf is very much heart-shaped like this. And violet, like the color violet, and the flower is also edible. So just a quick bonus, always look out for violet. So there you go, 7 plus 1 bonus plants that you can find and eat in your very own backyard. I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that it helps you to connect more with your backyard and your ecology. Remember, all of these plants not only have a suite of nutritional benefits, but also medicinal ones as well. And I'm gonna encourage you to look up some of the information online, because there's a ton of it that's very available out there. Now, at some point in the future, I'm gonna get into much more detailed, itemized profiles of all these plants, looking specifically at one of them for just one video. But for now, I really wanted to give you an overview of just some of the plants that are right out there, right in your backyard, waiting for you to make use of them. So I'm really curious about how you make use of plants in your backyard. Please let me know about it in the comments. If you're excited about some of those videos going forward, specifically covering each of these plants in detail, maybe consider subscribing so you can be notified about them. Like this video if you liked it. Please share it with your friends, tell them about it. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, one more thing. I just started a brand new Instagram account specifically devoted towards wild food. It's called Feral Foraging, @FeralForaging, and you can check it out on Instagram. So if you're interested in that, link is down below in the description. Okay, that's it.